Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a bit of fan art. So a video game has recently come out and I have been so excited to play it, and I've been having a lot of fun playing it myself, but also watching my partner Jessie play it, and the game is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And in this new game, there is a dragon which wasn't in the previous version of the game, Breath of the Wild. And I really love this dragon. I just think it looks so cool. And you guys know that I am a big fan of dragons. I love drawing them. And when a game company makes a character that is a dragon, I probably want to draw it. Now I'm going to be making this artwork on a small piece of watercolor paper. As you can see, compared to my hand, it's not very large. I'm going to be using my Kuratake Gansai Tambi watercolors, which I think will be really fun to play around with. It's been a while since I have used them. And I'm just doing a light sketch at the moment with just some graphite pencil here, just to add in the sketch layer. And I just really love this character because I don't know, it's just such a different design for a dragon. I found that the dragons from Zelda, they have very long, cute faces, and I just love the proportions that they've done, and it's more of the sort of Asian style dragon, which I think looks so cool. And I just really like the colors on this dragon as well. Now I've lightened up my sketch with a kneadable eraser, and I'm just going in with some fine liners here to do my line art. Sometimes I don't like to do a line art with watercolor. Sometimes I like to work on a very light sketch and then maybe I'll go in later with pencil to refine the line art. But this time I decided I wanted to go with the sort of more cartoony feel and just use a fine liner. Now the fine liners I'm using a mix of a few actually. Mostly I believe Spectrum Noir, watercolor, well not watercolor, waterproof fine liners. And at first I'm just using some really fine ones for little details, but later on I'm gonna go over and thicken the line art and just like thicken the edges and stuff with some like more heavy lines. Now sometimes I do struggle a little bit with the fine lines on the really fine liners. I am a bit of a heavy-handed drawer or artist. When I like sketch and line things, I can be a little bit heavy, and sometimes I don't know, I feel like with the finer lines it's a little bit hard to get like smooth, like instead of like wiggly lines, if that makes sense. So I feel like I have to practice a little bit with that. But honestly, I think it turned out pretty nice. Now I'm actually going to go in and just add a few background details, and I've decided to pick this flower from the game The Silent Princess, and I just did a few around the dragon just for a little bit more like interest, and also just to fill in those empty spaces as well and just make it all like look cohesive and like fill the page. And yeah, I just sort of sketched them out with my pencil, lightened them up with my kneadable eraser, and then did basically the same thing I went over with my fine liners. Now here is the fun part. It's time to go in with the paint and add in the color, and this is the part where I find it really comes together. I went in with the background first because it was a pretty light color, and I just wanted to fill in that space so I can see better what I'm working with. And I decided a light blue, just like for the sky, because this dragon does fly around in the sky, and I think that this sort of like light sort of sky blue kind of color would work well with the other colors that I'm going to add into this illustration. So I did a pretty like simple wash just for this background, and I was kind of careful not to cover the line art too much because with these Kuratake Gansai watercolors, they can be a little bit more opaque than I am used to. So I really don't want to sort of like make that line art disappear, if that makes sense. After this, I mixed up a very light warm grey kind of colour for the details on this dragon. Now it has some sort of like greyish patterns on its face and on its belly, but there's some interesting effects with this dragon because it has like glowing parts on its stomach. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do that later on, probably with some pencils or something. But now I'm just going to go in with the details on the horns and the spikes of this dragon. Now it does have sort of like a tealy kind of blue color for those, so I decided to mix just a little bit more green so that it didn't blend in too much with the background. And now I'm just going in with the other colors on this dragon. Now after that, I'm going to go in and add some texture to the scales. Now this is a light dragon, so a lot of the colors on this dragon are sort of light and there's a little bit of darkness too, but I wanted to add a little bit of a sort of like a scale pattern on the light parts. So I just used a mix of light warm grey and a little bit of yellow mixed into that as well. And now just for the final details, I'm going to go in with my pencils. I know it would have been fun to just do it only watercolor, but sometimes it just needs a little bit extra and a little bit more refinement, and I get that with my pencils sometimes. So as you can see, I've added that sort of glowy yellow part to its tummy, and I'm just going in and refining some highlights here and there and some shadows with the pencils. After this, I'm just going to go in now with my fine liners and just refine some of those outlines, because as I said, some of these colors sort of are a little bit more opaque, so it can cover those lines a little bit, and I wanted to thicken them a little bit so that we could get a better idea of the silhouette of this dragon and the flowers. After this, I wanted to add a little bit more sparkle to the background, so I decided to go in and add just some little star sort of patterns. Now I don't think this is like a starry kind of sky, I just figured that those sparkles are kind of like, I don't know, magic coming from this light dragon, so it has like sparkles around it because it's pretty, and it also just makes the artwork look a bit nicer. So here is the final results, and honestly I love this little watercolor painting. I think it was really fun and it was a nice sort of small artwork to sort of get me back into making art. I just wanted to say I'm sorry for not uploading as much recently. As you can probably tell from my voice, I've been a little bit sick. I recently caught COVID and had to spend a whole week in bed just doing nothing so that I could, kick that illness. But you guys don't have to worry, I am better now and I'm having a lot of fun getting back into art and making a lot of artworks, and I can't wait to show you guys those in my next videos. So thank you all and have a wonderful day.